Yo, 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 what is going on? It is the Crazy Writer right here, right now, back with Chapter 13 of my Invader Zim fan fiction. I don't think there's too much to say about this chapter. It's pretty simple, so we'll keep this intro nice and short. That means it's time for you to sit back, relax, and enjoy it all. Right here, right now. Chapter 13 Too Tired. I definitely wasn't taking my legs for granted anymore since I've been healed. Whenever I get the chance, I run to where I'm going. I finally started to figure out what my problem is with me and my emotions involving Zim. The reasons for me wanting to spend so much time with him, and wanting to always see him happy. My problem is that I'm reaching an age where I'm starting to search for a potential mate. Something that I'd never been focused on before. Gaz once accused me of being Dib's little girlfriend, but I laugh at that idea. I see him almost as much of a brother as she does. I could never choose him as my mate. He's also a bit too much on the human side of things. My first choice would have been an actual wolf, but obviously that's not an option for a number of reasons. My need to find a mate has forced me to settle on someone a bit between man and, well, beast. Ergo, I have a crush on the Erkin. Miss Bitters was having one of the students build a tower of cards on Dib's desk to represent something boring that I didn't quite understand or give a dead rat about. Dib's desk was the last real desk in the class. I was reduced to a large tire that I occasionally chewed on, while Zim was using an old garbage can. When the tower of cards was finished, Bitters was saying how it represented some poor society and all that. Then the cards all collapsed on Dib's desk, which then collapsed under the weight of the cards. "Dib," Bitters said, irritated. "The warranty on your desk is worn out. Get a replacement from the pile." "Yes, ma'am," Dib said with absolutely no enthusiasm before heading to the back of the class and selecting a trash can. "Well, children, as you know, the desk budget for this year has run out," Miss Bitters was saying, "but the school board is giving you a chance to lessen your misery." Dib dragged his garbage desk to the front of the room, and a rat jumped out at his face. As soon as I heard, smelled, and saw the rat, I was out of my desk. With no hesitation, I chased and barked at the rat until it was off of Dib and out the classroom door. I would have continued to pursue it, but Bitters stopped me at the door. "Elizabeth, I'm getting sick of you disrupting the class with your miserable dog antics. Get back to your seat and stay there, or I'm gonna have to call your therapist again." "That not needed, ma'am," I said with my head and eyes as low as they could get. I made my way back to my seat and silently gnawed on my tire desk. Miss Bitters pulled down the projection screen and played a video, but I wasn't paying attention. I couldn't. I was too focused on being yelled at. Then my thoughts went back to my new class time daydreams involving Zim. I imagined us playing fetch in the park, and then I'd suddenly run to him and pounce on him. I'd lick his face and he'd yell at me at first, but then it would turn into laughter. Then Gur would come over and join the pile with his little adorableness. The human in a dog costume on the video said something about a secret prize, and Zim became demanding of the knowledge. "Secret?" He jumped on the desk and tried to get in the dog's face. I grinned to myself because I was starting to find his need for power and control to be a bit adorable. Ooh, I guess Liz is a sub, is that right? "What are you hiding, dog man? Tell me, tell me!" But the video ended without giving Zim any sort of answer. "Secret? Yes, of course. But what could it be? What? I must possess the secret prize!" Miss Bitters growled at Zim. "Miss Bitters," Dib asked, "why don't they use the money they spend on candy and prizes and use it to buy desks?" "That answer wasn't in the video," was all Bitters said as she held Zim up by the back of the collar. Once we all had our candy, Zim, Gur, and I were all walking together to try and sell the candy. Zim kept saying that he needs to sell so many boxes so that he can win the secret prize. I told him, All funds I raise go to you if want them. Really? Zim questioned. But don't you want to try to get the secret prize for yourself? Watching him get the secret prize and making him happy would be enough of my own prize. Not nearly as much as you clearly do. Besides, chocolate poisoned my family, so I'm not most excited about trying to profit from it. Very well, Zim said as we walked past Dib. Hey, Zim! Dib shouted to us while holding up an empty poop box. I sold a whole box at my dad's lab. Beat that! So you're trying to beat me to the prize, is that it? Zim said while removing a single candy bar. Just more proof of its strategic value. Dib snatched the bar away from Zim and I started growling lowly. Rrr. The only reason I'm selling this dirt in a wrapper is to watch you fail at something else, Zim. Dib started laughing to himself as sweat dripped down his face. The day and the sun were painfully hot. When I left my foster parents' house this morning, they had all the fans and air conditioning on. Dib continued laughing as he knocked Zim's box of candy all over the place and splashed his juice box in Zim's face. I wasn't standing for that. I let my own box slide off of my back before I started barking and chasing Dib down the street. Ah! Dib cried. It was a joke, Liz. Calm down. I slowed down to a walk as Dib kept running. Well, I'm not fighting funny, Dib, I called after him. Just leave us alone. I trotted back over to Zim and helped him pick up all the candy before putting my own box on my back again. Zim walked up to an old woman's house while Gur stayed perched on the short walls surrounding her property. I sat at the head of the path leading to her door and watched Zim knock on the door. The old woman answered and I could see that she was holding a bat behind her back. Please, ma'am, Zim pleaded. If you don't buy my candy, my little brother will go insane. He gestured towards Gur, who started breakdancing. After a few cranks, his body dislocated from his head and launched into the air. Oh! The woman screamed. Good heavens! He's worse than I thought. Please, of course I'll buy some candy. Gur landed at their feet as the woman exchanged some money for a single candy bar. She took a couple of bites and started coughing sawdust all over the headless body of Gur. Zim nodded. That's the sawdust. The headless Gur sat up, and the woman kicked him away before crawling back into the house. Gur ran back and started banging on the door. I came over and picked him up in my mouth, dropping him back off at his head. We went to the next house over, and it was time to show Zim my method of selling. Zim and Gur both sat on the outside of the property, while I made my way to the porch. I slid the box, which was now starting to get moist from my back sweat, off of my back. I sat back and started howling until a woman answered the door with her baby. Buy some candy, will you? I begged innocently. She shook her head. No, thank you. And she started to close the door. Very well, I responded with a bit of a grin. Then I continue sit here and howl at your house until you buy candy bars. Please don't. But it was too late. I was already howling. The woman kept yelling at me to stop, and the infant was crying, but I continued. Okay, the woman finally surrendered. I'll buy some candy, just stop howling. The woman took 2 candy bars from the box, and I quit howling. Thank you, I nodded politely. Much appreciated. I went back to Zim and handed him my money. Impressive. He grinned at me. We continued going from door to door. Zim's tactic usually failed, while my howling almost always succeeded. After several hot hours and only selling 9 bars total between the 2 of us, the 3 of us took a seat on the hot sidewalk. Gur was in one of the boxes, eating the candy bars. I can never figure out how such a little robot can eat so much, and it doesn't seem to go anywhere. Gur, don't eat that filth! Zim finally yelled at him. It is the key to the mystery of the prize. He held up a single bar. The mystery of the prize. Gur did the same thing. I was so hot and exhausted from so much howling and walking around while carrying a box of poison. I laid my head on the sidewalk and closed my eyes to rest. I think Zim was talking to himself about not giving up or something when I heard a thud and a groan. I sat up to see that Zim had thrown Gur into Dib, who was now laying in the street. "Gee, Zim," he said while throwing Gur off him and sitting up. "I haven't even done anything to you yet." "Get out of here, gangster of defeat!" Zim yelled at him. "Begone with you!" Dib rose to his feet. "Man, Zim, defeat's made you crazy." Dib walked away from the scene. "What just happened?" I asked my green companion, who ignored my question. "Of course," he said instead. "That has been my mistake all along." "You get harassed by Dib?" "I've been trying to sell like a miserable human." "This white wolves not sell anything," I told him. "We just kill and eat and go sleep." "Gur!" Gur saluted Zim. "Yes, my lord." "I will use inferior human techniques no longer. Now watch as I unleash the full power of Erkin persuasion." "Yes," I said. "I see Alpha in action." "Yay!" Gur cried. "I'm gonna be sick!" And he proceeded to vomit chocolate and sawdust on the front of Zim. I didn't want to because, it's chocolate and sawdust, but I licked up the mess off of Zim. Ooh, sexy. "Great," Zim said. "One companion makes the mess and the other cleans it up." We moved on with Zim's new method of selling. I hardly had to help him at all anymore. With his new method of selling, involved showing the potential buyer images of a post-apocalyptic world, and told them that this was their future if they didn't buy our candy. Needless to say, it worked every single time. When it was all over, Zim had sold over 1,200,000 candy bars. The money was an amount I never thought I'd see in my lifetime. In the classroom, all the money was shoved through the door, and we both tumbled down the mountain of cash. Dib sat there gawking at the amount of money. "I am here, Dibworm," Zim said to Dib, "and I have sold over 1.2 million revolting candy units." He walked up to Miss Bitters, and I went to my desk with a grin. I was excited to see how happy the mystery prize would make my Erkin friend. "I am prepared to receive the power of the mystery prize. Give to Zim!" "Well," Miss Bitters looked down at him while pulling out a yellow envelope. "This has never happened before. Zim, your prize is—" She tore open the envelope and read the paper inside. "Your prize is nothing. There is no mystery prize." "What?" I barked. "They just made it up to make kids work harder for no money." "Eh?" Zim looked up at her with confusion. "As a consolation, here's some tuna." Miss Bitters handed Zim a can of tuna. Zim took the can and held it above his head. "Curse you, poop dog! Curse you!" His screaming had knocked over multiple desks and children, including my own desk. "Now that could howl," I said, smirking to myself. That's about all there is for this little beauty of a chapter. If you enjoyed, please let me know, or just keep coming back for the many chapters that are on the way. I will see you little darlings next time, and remember, keep your crazy.